In the great wheel of time known as the Yugas, there is one age feared above all, Kali Yuga, the age of darkness, the age we're living in now. Corruption rises, truth is mocked, spirituality fades, and yet, at the very doorstep of this age of ruin, stood one man. One king who didn't just challenge Kali Yuga, he made it ask for permission to exist. King Parikshit. He wasn't just royalty. He was the grandson of Arjuna, the legendary archer of the Mahabharata. He was the child who survived a divine nuclear weapon inside the womb, saved by Lord Krishna himself. He was the last ruler of righteousness before the world fell into spiritual amnesia. And yet, how many of us remember his name? This is the king who drew his sword when he saw Dharma being beaten in broad daylight. This is the king who spared Kali but confined it to 5 poisonous domains: gambling, intoxication, illicit sex, animal slaughter, and greed. This is the king who, after being cursed to die in 7 days, didn't try to escape fate. He embraced it, sat by the sacred Ganga, and listened to the entire Bhagavata Purana, 7 days of cosmic truths, soul science, and devotion, until his death became his liberation. And here's the twist. This story isn't just history or mythology, it's a roadmap. Because if Parikshit could find divine clarity in the midst of death and darkness, so can we. So what made Kali Yuga fear him? Why did even the age of decay kneel before this man? And how can his 7 final days reveal the secret to mastering life, death, and spiritual destiny? Stay with me. This is not just the story of a forgotten king. This is the story of how to remain untouched by chaos, even when the whole world begins to fall apart. Let's begin. King Parikshit was born into a world recovering from war. The great Mahabharata had just ended. The Pandavas, once mighty rulers, were now stepping back, weary from battle and betrayal. As the new world emerged from the ashes, it needed a ruler who could carry forward the light of Dharma. But Parikshit's life nearly ended before it began. While still in his mother Uttara's womb, he was targeted by Ashwatthama, the vengeful warrior who hurled a Brahmastra, the deadliest weapon known, straight at the unborn child. But just as destruction loomed, Lord Krishna, the divine protector, intervened. In a moment that defies human logic, Krishna entered the womb and shielded the fetus with his own spiritual energy. This miraculous event not only saved Parikshit, but marked him as divinely blessed. His name literally means the examiner, or the one who observes, because sages foretold he would constantly test the world around him, searching for truth. When the Pandavas retired, Parikshit ascended the throne of Hastinapura, becoming the torchbearer of righteousness in an increasingly unrighteous age. But things were changing. A new era was dawning, the Kali Yuga, known in Hindu cosmology as the age of darkness, ignorance, and spiritual decline. And what Parikshit did next made him immortal in spirit. Parikshit wasn't just another king. He ruled with clarity, courage, and conscience. Under his reign, Dharma flourished. The people were safe, the land prospered, and sacred knowledge once again moved freely among sages and householders alike. But just as light begins to shine at its brightest, the shadows begin to stir. The scriptures had foretold that the Kali Yuga, the final and darkest age, would begin after the death of Lord Krishna. And though Krishna had already departed from the world, it was under Parikshit's watch that Kali first tried to enter the kingdom. But here's what the sages never expected. Kali wouldn't arrive as an army. He arrived as a man. One day, while Parikshit was traveling through his empire, inspecting the lands and the spiritual well-being of his people, he saw a horrifying sight. A cow and a bull, symbolic representations of Mother Earth. This wasn't just animal abuse. This was a cosmic symbol. The bull, which normally had 4 legs symbolizing austerity, cleanliness, compassion, and truth, was now left standing on only 1 leg, truth. And even that was about to be broken. Parikshit, without hesitation, drew his sword and charged forward. He didn't wait for an army, he didn't send messengers. He confronted the perpetrator himself. And then Kali revealed himself. But instead of fighting back, Kali knelt. He dropped his weapon and fell at the king's feet, begging for mercy. Now this is the paradox of dharma. Parikshit, a kshatriya upholding the laws of righteousness, could not kill someone who had surrendered. To kill a surrendered soul, even if they embodied darkness, would be a violation of the very truth he stood for. So Parikshit made a bold decision. He didn't just spare Kali. He gave him restrictions, places where he could exist and only those places. He said, "You may reside only where the mind becomes weak, where dharma has already left." And so, the 5 domains of Kali Yuga were declared: gambling where truth is bent for gain, intoxication where clarity is clouded, illicit sexual conduct where purity is lost, animal slaughter where compassion dies, gold where greed becomes God. These weren't just sins. These were the doorways through which Kali would slowly enter the human heart. And that's why Kali feared Parikshit. Because in one move, he wasn't just stopped, he was confined. But the story doesn't end there. In fact, it's just beginning. Scene shifts, the palace fades, a deep forest appears. One day, while on a hunting expedition, King Parikshit entered the quiet hermitage of Samika Rishi, a powerful sage deep in meditation. Parikshit, tired and thirsty, requested water or a greeting. But the sage, lost in deep samadhi, didn't respond. Feeling disrespected, Parikshit committed a small but grave mistake. In frustration, he picked up a dead snake and placed it around the sage's neck as a mocking gesture. He left, not realizing the ripple he had just set off. When Samika's son, Shringi, a young but proud sage, learned of the incident, he was furious. Without a moment's thought, he cursed King Parikshit. "In 7 days the serpent king Takshaka will come and bite you. You will die, O king." When the message reached Parikshit, he could have panicked. He could have sought protection or turned to politics or war. But instead, he did something unimaginable. He renounced everything. He placed the crown aside, walked to the banks of the Ganga, and sat in stillness. He wasn't just preparing to die, he was preparing to transcend. News of the king's cursed fate spread far and wide. Sages and seekers from every corner of the land gathered by the river to witness what they thought would be a king's final days. But what unfolded was a divine exchange of eternal wisdom. Into this sacred moment walked a young sage, barefoot, glowing with divine insight, only 16 years old. His name was Shukadeva Goswami, the son of Veda Vyasa. And what followed was 7 days of the Bhagavata Purana, an ocean of spiritual truths, cosmology, devotion, the secrets of karma, the nature of the soul, and above all, the pastimes and glories of Lord Krishna. Parikshit listened, not just with ears, but with his soul. And as each day passed, he grew more detached from his body, from fear, from ego. On the 7th day, Takshaka did come. The Serpent King entered in disguise, passed through all the protections and bit Parikshit. His body turned to ash, but his soul, already free, already absorbed in Krishna consciousness, already liberated. Scene fades to light, slow visuals of the Ganga, of scrolls turning, of peaceful skies. Parikshit didn't die in fear. He died in perfect awareness. In a world slowly drowning in noise, King Parikshit's silence echoes louder than ever. His story is not just a tale of a wise king. It's a blueprint for inner power, for spiritual rebellion in a world addicted to decay. He didn't conquer kingdoms, he conquered the self. And in doing so, he became immortal. Let us be honest, we were all living in the very age he tried to hold back. Kali Yuga is no longer knocking on the door. It's sitting on the couch, holding the remote, controlling minds, polluting truth, and numbing souls. The 5 domains Parikshit once restricted Kali to, gambling, intoxication, lust, animal killing, and greed, are now billion-dollar industries. But here's the revelation. Parikshit didn't stop Kali by building temples or preaching sermons. He stopped it by being aware, by being centered, and by choosing dharma over reaction, wisdom over ego, truth over fear. And that's what makes him goated, not just in legend, but in legacy. Because in the end, even Kali had to submit, not to a warrior, but to a soul that couldn't be swayed. Final visual: a golden silhouette of Parikshit sitting beside the Ganga, absorbed in divine listening. So ask yourself, in a time where distraction rules and spirituality is sold like a product, can we sit in silence like Parikshit? Can we listen like he did? Can we choose truth even when the serpent of time hisses in our ear? Because if we can, even for a moment, we too can reclaim the same divine clarity that lit up the soul of a king. This is not just his story, it's yours. It's now, and Kali is still watching. If this story stirred something within you, don't forget to subscribe. We uncover lost truths, ancient wisdom, and hidden power in every video. And your journey into the deeper side of reality has just begun. Like, comment, and share. Let's awaken together.